we're going to go ahead and get a squirrel ready for mounting. I wanted to put out a squirrel video. We think it's a good idea. Good first time project for people. First thing you want to do on a squirrel is get a measurement on him. Go from the tip of the nose to the base of the tail, where the tail meets the body. This is 13 inches. So I put the length equals 13 inches. This is my squirrel, Rick's squirrel. So I'll be able to identify him in the freezer. And I want the circumference. Around the middle of the body here, we'll end up with about 8 inches. Keep that, set it aside. Now what we're going to do is I think I'm going to do a sitting mount on this. What I do is I do most of my animals' dorsal cut. He's been in the fridge. I found him along the road. I don't like to see things go to waste, so I thought I'd go ahead and do a video of this guy. Okay, first things first, let's get this guy out of his jacket. So what we're going to do, get my knife sharp. Got a scalpel, that's fine. Go right at the base of the tail here. Get yourself in there, and then go ahead and go right under the skin. Hold on to the tail here. Just go right up under the skin, all the way up the back. Don't be in a hurry. We're just getting him out of his coat, say. Now go right up behind his, right up to his neck there. So what we do is we pull this apart a little bit, like so. See that? See how I'm just pulling that apart? So I can see what I'm doing. Now squirrel has one of the toughest hides there is, I think. You can't hardly pull them off easy. When they're warmer, they'll come off a little bit. But you can pull this loose. But a squirrel is a good one to practice on, just skinning. You see the white membrane here? You just hit that with a knife. Like so. Then it pops loose. Now you don't want to be in a hurry. And even I'm guilty of that sometimes. Getting in a hurry. Not taking my time. You gotta just maintain a nice pace and your work will get done. Anyway, that's what I do. I get that where you can see that white membrane when you stretch it. See this right here? This is the meat, this is the hide, this is the membrane here that's attaching that. Just go like so. That'll pop it loose. You got a sharp knife, just hit that, and it'll come right loose. It doesn't matter if you leave a little meat on there, because we'll flesh this out just like we do any other animal or bird. We'll use a fleshing wheel on him, or in this case I'll use a knife to show everybody how it's done. Not everybody has a fleshing wheel, I know. But see this here, we're going to go ahead and get this back. Pull loose a little bit. Now this one might be he might be a little rough from being hit, but who knows? He looks like a pretty good squirrel. So, obviously, if they're too bad, you don't want to pick them up. Get down here on the rear end, the butt end of him. The old butt end of the squirrel. Anyway, we're just going ahead and getting him out now. If you feel comfortable, you can work at a faster pace, but this is what I'm going to do today. We're just going to take our time, get him out of his skin. Take our time. Now when you get down in here, you can pull a little bit, like so. Squirrel skins you don't have to worry about pulling them off. They're so tough. The only place you got to worry about pulling them loose is the front feet here. If you pull that down too hard, you might pull that right off the front feet. And they have a little tuft of hair on the inside of the front feet. Let's see, I'll show you when we get to it. That you got to get that cut loose. There's just a little bit of, you can feel it right here on both sides. You have to get that skin, otherwise you'll lose that when you skin it. It might make a hole. I'll show you when we get to it. A lot of people don't know about that, but a lot of squirrel hunters do. But we're just going to work our way down here easy. See that? Just go ahead and push that leg out a little bit. Like you're trying to turn him inside out. Skinning game to eat and skinning game for taxidermy are two different deals. You can't be as... Now if you're doing a squirrel for eating, that's a whole different deal. That might make a good video too someday, showing how to skin them. My daddy showed me how to skin a squirrel when I was, well, I don't know, I was young. I was skinning squirrels when I was 5 years old. We used to go hunting, and us kids had to skin the game when we got it home. He'd show us, taught us how to do it, and stuff like that, but it was our job to skin it, my mom's job to cook it, and it was just the way it was back then. We're just going to go ahead and just keep going. We're down to the belly here. See that? We're down to the belly. We're going to turn him over and do this other side now. Going to get him down to where we can work on him a little more, do a few different things. Get the arms, his front leg, I call them arms. Get his front legs out. Well, they use them like arms, what the heck. You get his front legs out. Get his back legs out. Get the tail out. This is a fully prime winter squirrel. Go ahead and pull that leg out a little bit. Get it to where you can work on it. We got that boar head boiling in the pot back there. You might hear that. That's another video. Now we're just pulling the hide here a little bit, trying to get this belly. If we can get down around the belly, there you go. We're getting there. I'm through here now. See my finger coming through? We're going to go ahead and work on the back legs now. You can jump around on this thing here. You kind of try to get the skin off. Sometimes you find ways to do it. I like to work a little bit up to the front end, and I'll come to the back end. Stuff like that. If you can get the back end loose, you can work everything to the front. That's what we try to do. So we're gonna go ahead and get the back skinned out. If I can get to the base of the tail here, I want to get to the base of the tail right here, where I can cut that loose. If I can get that loose, then I can get everything. I can get the hind legs done. I can just go right up the squirrel that way. And I'm getting her. These videos will give you a kind of a base of understanding. You can read all you want, but if you're like me, I guess what they call it is a tactile type person, where I gotta do it to really get it. You can read all you want, but you gotta do too. You know. Oh, hi, Toby. I know you like squirrel, Toby. Anyway, we're getting this leg skinned out. What's up? You want to come up here and say hi to the people? Okay. I'm going to go down this side a little more. See if I can break that loose a little bit more. And if you have to, you can cut down the tail a little bit more. It's no biggie. Go ahead and cut this tail loose right here. You can see that. I'm right where the back hip bone is here. And we're going to go ahead and get my side cutters out. We're going to cut this squirrel bone tail out. You'll hear some crunching here. There she goes. Now, you can pull that like so. See how that just pulled right loose? And just go ahead and skin him loose right here on the bottom. He's a big old male squirrel. He's a big old male. Anyway, big squirrel. We have some monsters up here. Anyway, we're going ahead and getting him skinned out here. I'm going to make sure that I'm in the right area here for you guys. Well, I think I am. Well, let me see if I can get a little bit closer. There we go. It might help. I don't know if it will or not, but anyway, we got him on his back, and we're kind of skinning him forward. Now, if you feel more comfortable, you can cut these legs loose and work on them that way. I'm more comfortable leaving. I used to do that when I was starting out. Just go ahead and cut the thigh loose right here, and then you got the leg. I'll show you how to do that right now. Just go ahead and cut it loose. You can break it. Just get it loose. See that? You got a little ball right here where his hip joint. Anyway, you got the leg out like so. You can hold your squirrel up, put a little tension on it, and just go ahead and hold it, or you can hang it from something. And just work it down. Just pull it, and then cut, pull and cut, pull and cut. That's what you do. Pull and cut. See how that? Then just pull it gently down to the ankle. Okay? We're down to the ankle here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that off so we don't have to. I'm going to not play with that right now. We're going to skin that foot out later. But anyway, I just wanted to show you how to do that with the leg right there. You cut that leg loose, it's easy to do that way too. So what we're doing is we're breaking this loose from the belly now. We'll cut him loose here is his manhood. And anyway, what we're doing is we're pulling this leg down now, this other leg, and we're just going to pull that loose. We might have to do a little bit of cutting here. You know, you can't, you go into doing this, you just can't start hacking away and cutting and everything like that, you know. It's, we got him pretty well out of this. Everything. We're going to get this leg loose, and then we're going to, now if he has some testicles left up in his bag here, go ahead and get rid of those. These came out right with him, so we don't have to worry about that. Pull the skin down. I have to cut some connective tissue. Okay, I'm going to cut this leg loose. Just like so. Okay, now we got our squirrel half done. we'll go ahead and just get the belly here. Just go up the belly a little bit. Get him loose a little more. We'll just go ahead and keep working at him. This is kind of like that coyote video. Going up under the neck, you just want to be kind of careful. You don't want to cut everything up in there. You'll have a little meat, but if you do a good job skinning now, that'll save you a lot later. That'll save you some work later on, I guess I should say. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get this squirrel up over the top. Same thing holds true for the front. You see how I cut this leg loose here? You can cut that shoulder loose here. I'll do one side this way, then we'll do the other side the other way. The squirrel shoulder come loose. They got a little bone right there. Anyway, we'll get that. Just kind of keep prying at it till you get in the joint there, like so. Anyway, there we go. I'm going to go ahead. Okay, now we've got this leg loose. Now we can do the same thing, just kind of skin it out as you go down. Pull real gentle, because this one here could break loose on you. And that little gland I was telling you about is right, you'll see it as you go down on the squirrel's front leg. And if you keep cutting, you just don't want to pull that, because you'll pull that loose and end up with a hole in there. There it is, right there. It's got a couple of hairs on it, so you don't want to pull that loose. Just keep cutting until you get down there. We're going to cut this leg off right here. That way you'll see. We'll come back and do the feet here in just a minute, but we'll get this guy out of the rest of the skin. Okay, we're getting him over here. What we're going to do is, watch your knife there. I'm just going to kind of work my thumb in there. Just keep working it in between the joint, and just keep pulling and pulling, or you cut that joint loose. I'm going to get my thumb between there. See how that thumb comes through there? Now I'm going to grab that and just pull that gentle, real gentle. Because if you don't, you'll pull that loose and you can pop that foot right off of there. I mean, break the skin and pop that right off. Then you got to do some other surgery on it. Call it plastic surgery, I guess. Anyway, we'll cut that loose. Now, evidently, this squirrel was hit. He was hit in the head when he got run over, because the rest of his body looks pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and get this. Now I can feel when I'm holding him that he's a little bit broke up. We're just going to go ahead and we can keep going. I skinned one the other day. He was shot pretty good. But it was a girl that shot, little girl shot it, and her dad wanted to mount it. I said we could work on it. It had about 20 BBs in its head. Nothing you can't work around. Now just pull that, get your skin in your hand like this up around the head. And you can see that tension there. And just keep going like so. The squirrels have a big gland on them, right under their neck. You can either get that off now, or when you flesh them. I'll do everything on a squirrel that can be done right away, or what I'll do is I'll skin this out, I'll order the form, I'll come back, I'll put him in the freezer, when I get ready to mount him, I'll go ahead and take him out of the freezer, flush him, get my form ready, put the eyes in it and that, dry preserve it, and then mount him up. But what we got to do is we got to see where his ears are right along the side, right where every other animal's ears are. Cut those loose, and that'll help your skin come forward. Here's his ear right here. Now his head is in kind of bad shape. I can feel it. It's all busted up. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. Now you see his cheek meat right here. Just go ahead and go like so. And get around the eyes. You got to be very careful. You don't want to skin those eyes out. I mean, you don't want a gaping hole where the eye is. So you have to skin eyes out. That's where your mount is. I think that's where your mount is made, is in the eyes. If you don't have the right eyes, or if you butchered the eyes, they just don't. You can't make a mount look good with bad eyes. Sometimes you can get things to look good, but if the eyes are bad, you aren't going to do it. Because people look right at the eyes all the time. I do. See how that kind of popped loose there when I did just barely touch that? You don't be in a hurry around the eyes. Got this here. Here's the eye right here. Just go ahead and barely touch that, where this connective tissue is. And I'm just kind of doing a little bit at a time. You break some loose down here, that'll put tension up here. Just keep putting tension like so. See that eye come loose? You can see that eye right there. You can see how it busted loose. Now you can be just you get past that eye, you can be just a little bit more aggressive. Not much, because you got the nose coming up here too. The squirrel nose is very important. Anyway, just cut into the side of the head like so, where his mouth is, right like so, and you'll break that whole mouthpiece loose. Then get under the jaw. Now you can buy fake squirrel teeth if you want, or you can use these. I mount my squirrels, unless they're, most of the time without the teeth showing. I'll get that, when we mount this up, I'll show you. But a lot of times the squirrel's teeth are showing. So you just go and kind of go ahead and go around the head, and go around the nose. There you go. We got our squirrel out. You see that? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do the paws, or hands as they would say. You see that little piece that's left there? Just keep pulling down. Here's that little gland I was telling you about on the front legs. I don't know exactly what they use that for. But anyway, now get yourself a pair of pliers. You got enough to grab onto. Go ahead and just pull that gently like so. Go ahead and cut it loose. And pull gently some more. What we want to do is we want to cut down by the paw pad. We got to get all the way down by the paw pad. Now, a squirrel has a, we'll see it when we get to it here. A lot of animals have that dew claw deal going for them. So you got to watch it on a squirrel, you don't pull that loose. And here's his right here, I believe. We'll see. We'll cut this loose and see what happens. We'll get one out here on this other side. No. See if he's got a short finger. He doesn't have one. That's just a short. You got a short finger right here. You gotta make sure you cut that one loose first and then go down. So anyway, that's what we'll do. Anyway, you can cut the pads if you want from the bottom side. And we may do that. I might show you that little move there too. On the back ones anyway. Just kind of keep going. You see that? I'm getting down to the pad now. And once you get that pad broke loose, it'll come. See that? See how that kind of pulled loose there? Now see here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this loose right here. There we go. We're going to go ahead and pull that. Because your squirrel forms, you get your dry preservative down in here and you preserve all that. If you don't, sometimes you might get bugs in there in the summertime. Now, I've got to see, this is his pad on his foot right here. We're going to get right down to the beginning of his toes. And that's where we're at. I can see his toe joints right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut those babies loose. I'll get a scissors. Some good scissors. Cut that loose right there. Okay. Now, I'll show you this guy here now, if we can get him back out of here. We'll get him back up out of there. Get his toenails showing here. You see that there? We got his paw. He's real, we can get that form right down in there. That's got a little paw at the end of the form. It'll fit right in here and fill that out nicely. Put a little dab of clay in there ahead of time. You got her made. Okay, that's one of the front feet. We'll get this other one here. We turned him inside out, remember? There we go. I left him just enough to get a hold of with the pliers. And here's that little gland I was telling you about again on this one. So if you don't cut that loose, it'll tear a hole in the skin. And that's just a little bit more sewing you gotta do. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut a little bit, pull a little bit, cut a little bit, pull a little bit. Cut a little, pull a little. There we go. I'm going to cut this loose here because I know there's a little bone right there. So I'm getting to the pad because I can see the dark stuff. Go ahead and pull a little. See how that pulled loose there? We're getting there. Paws take some time. But if you don't do this, it's hard to... If you put a little hole in there, don't worry about it, because I just did. And they're kind of delicate here. I got his paws down here where I want them. I'm going to go ahead and cut them off. There goes his foot. Anyway, we'll get that baby turned back inside out. Okay, we got the front paws done. Now the back ones pose a different problem because sometimes you have trouble getting the ankle over the top your skin over the top of the paw here. So we're going to try one here to see how she works out for you. Okay. I left enough here to grab with the pliers. I knew this is what we were going to do. And it's the same method. Cut a little, pull a little. That's just what you do. Now you can hang this up and just keep pulling down pressure-wise like so. Hang it up and just keep skinning her down. Heck, that makes it too easy. Most people don't have a little gambrel type system, especially beginners, so this is what you do. Get down to the paw. This dark stuff here, that's his paw. They got quite a large paw. I'll show you here. It goes clear up here. See how it goes clear up the back? Right below the ankle bone, I guess you call it. You start running into that paw. So, you got to take a lot of that out. It's not like the front paw. So, there's a lot of it. We'll just keep working on it. Get a little bit more torque with my pliers. See how that kind of come down over the top of the feet now? I'm right down at the toes now. This is the main paw right here. That's the pad right there. Right where I'm at there is this part right here. I'm right here. So I got his toes. It would look something like so. I got it. This is the inside of his foot. That'd be just how this goes. So I'm gonna cut these off right here at the toes. There we go. We got that. Now we'll turn him back inside out. We might have trouble getting him back inside out. Sometimes you do on these back legs. So what you can do is when you get ready to mount him, fill that with water, and that'll come right back out. But this one here, we'll get him. Especially if you've got a little twist in there. What I'm doing, I'm just kind of squeezing everything forward here. Kind of bringing that right out now. There we go. We got him. Okay, now, what you can do, I'm going to show you another way, is an easier way for a beginner is to just go ahead and split this paw right up the middle. Just like so. This is something I wouldn't do, but as a beginner, why not? Go ahead and just cut it right down, like so. Okay? And you'll see what happens here when you get this thing turned inside out. Okay? It'll be very easy to get loose. A lot easier to get loose. We're going to get this thing here. Just like so. Anyway, there we go. Okay, what we're doing is we're breaking this loose. We've cut the paw pad on this one. We're going to go ahead and pull this bone here. Just like so. Just keep going. The reason I don't do this is because then I don't have to sew it, but as a beginner it's easier for you to do. To split this back paw like this. Now see where that split is? Now all we got to do is just tap around there with our knife like so and pull, and that foot will just keep coming right on out. You still got to do some cutting because that paw is tough. You see that? How it's coming loose? You know, you can do all your, I wouldn't do your front paws like this, but you can do your back paw or something, a lot of game. You see, this is the joint right here you want to get to. And I'm almost there. Cut some of these tendons loose and pull that down there. And, I mean, we're there. We're there. We're there. Okay. Now that's right where we're at. Now we did that in a quarter of the time it took us to do the other one. And we end up with the same result. Only this one's quicker. It's easier for a beginner. That's all I can say. You know, it's easier that way. The only thing you got to do now is when we mount this squirrel up, we have to sew that up. But that's no big deal. If you aren't under any time constraints, that's fine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the tail. Okay? Okay, we got the tail here. Go ahead and skin that tail down a little bit like so. See that? And I know most people don't have a tail stripper, but you should get one. You've seen me strip out bigger animals with a tail stripper. Squirrels, you do the same thing. But if you don't have a tail stripper, this is what I do. Either get another pair of pliers or a vice grip. Let's see, we're pretty good right there. Put your vice grip on your tail like so. Squeeze her down. Take your pliers. Put it around, put it in the little opening there, like so. Okay? And just go ahead and see, like so. And you end up with your tail just like that. But make sure you skin it down far enough. Get her skinned down far enough. And then when you get ready to dry preserve this, pack that tail, put a little dry preservative, borax in there, pack it down in there with a piece of wire. Okay, we got our squirrel ready to go. He's out of his jacket. We got him. All we got to do is flesh him out, and we'll do that when we get ready to mount him. Very easy to flesh a squirrel, no biggie. If you got your fleshing ball, just put it in there. Just cut that right off of there, or you could use the scissors. Cut the meat off like so. Don't cut a hole in your hide. Use your finger as a guide underneath. This is a little big, the scissors, but this is just for showing. But anyway, you can see how it's cutting the meat and the fat loose. Squirrels this time of the year have a pretty good supply of fat on them, so you want to get that off. But you can kind of see how I'm working that loose. Just go ahead and you can get most of the flesh off like that. You just keep going. Just go right on up the hide. You can do the whole hide like that. Very simple, but see, you got like these gobs of fat here. What you can do is just hold your finger under there. You can take that and go right along the edge there. You see how I got that fat off of there? That's one thing you got to do. Look at your animal before you start a project like this. Take a look at them and see where the stuff is you need to get off, and you can recognize it. Now, and the more animals you do, you'll know where the fat's located. Like a coyote, you'll know the fat's located under the armpits and under the belly. Seems like that's where most of the fat is. A coon or a possum, they have fat all over. Badgers have fat all over. Well, we're just going to go ahead and just do a kind of a quick fleshing. I'll just give you a quick lesson here. And I'm not using my fleshing scissors, but anyway, you can see where that fat was. Now my fleshing wheel, I'd flesh that whole thing. And you can use a little wire brush to do that too. Because you want to try to get that fat. That fat could come back to haunt you later on. Now we did that leg there, and you go over to this leg, you're going to have the same thing, the same fat right along in there. For some reason, this is where squirrels store a lot of their fat, toward the back end. Maybe it's a good place to store it, I don't know. But, you know, deer, a lot of times deer will store fat on their back, like a doe. You skin a doe and it'll just be loaded with fat on top of it. Well, you can see I'm just a flesh and fool here. I'm doing. But this whole hide, this squirrel here has a layer of fat that goes. That's all the way up. You can use a wire brush. You see that? Even where you don't think there's fat, there's just a little bit of fat. Because I can cut it off of there, so that means it's there. So, what I would do as a beginner is I'd go to the hardware store, or get a little wire brush, and that's what I'd use for my tool to get the fat. Break that fat up, and then when you get ready to wash him, if you get the skin broke off the top of that, you'll end up it'll give that soapy water a chance to get in there and work and get those fat molecules out of there. I guess what I'm doing is I'm killing time here, and it shouldn't be. I've got about a million other projects to do here. It's been, you know, the economy's been bad. It's going into toilet. But you know what? This is one of the best years I've had. Sportsmen still get their stuff done. Getting a lot of small game in, stuff like that. So, but you see how you can do the whole thing, and then what you do is when you get up to the lips, you get your fleshing ball in here, and you want to turn those lips back over. But we'll do the detail fleshing when we get ready to mount this guy. And that way we'll show you how to do it. He's a cute little guy. Too bad he got run over. But that's how you, beginning taxidermist, that's how you get your stuff. You look along the roads. If it's legal, pick it up. Anyway, that'll do that. We'll mount him up as soon as I get a form. I might even have a form for him. We'll have to take a look and see. But anyway, we'll mount him up in a couple days, and you'll get a chance to do that. And this is a good beginner project right here, squirrel. Rabbit isn't a good beginner project. It's hard to get a rabbit to look good. For some reason they don't dry up good. I don't know if it's the skin or what, but you can do them, but they aren't a good beginner project. A squirrel or a pheasant is one of the best beginner projects there is. A duck isn't a good beginner's project. You can do them, but there's a lot of fat and grease and that, and if you don't get them, it's not going to turn out good. And if you get a penny one, it's not going to turn out good. But anyway, we'll fold him up, get him ready for the freezer, bagged up and in the freezer. We got a tag made out, and back.